I keep going, but I inevitably reach a point where the stories I'm telling myself bump up against reality. Bam. And then they start to fail. And when that's starting to happen, it feels like I'm on the verge of a major breakdown, because it comes harder and harder to maintain things in place and harder to avoid that breakthrough that I know is coming, but I don't want. When I don't follow my intuition, typically at some point I reach a glass ceiling, bump, and keep slamming my head against it. And rational lies can only take me so far as they allow. They have their own ceiling. And interestingly enough, I've learned to have a lot of respect for the stories. I tell myself tremendous respect, because I've noticed that the stories themselves can begin to create scenarios that support them. Self-perpetuating. Self-deluding, even though I keep on bumping my head on the ceiling they create, fall back down, and then I try again. Get up, all the way up to exactly the same place that the lie will allow, over and over, same song, different verse, a little bit louder, a little bit worse. And it's different things for different people. You know that maybe it's a diet for you. Never seems to work. Works for other people. It could be a self-esteem issue. And no matter how many classes or how many workshops you attend, that feeling of unworthiness lingers. And you can only go so far. Bam, there's the ceiling again. Or maybe it's a money issue. Or whatever it is for you, it's the place where it's very frustrating. It's the repeater. Here it is. So here's another way of looking at it that has helped me and helped other people. Maybe it's not happening because of what you're choosing to do. Maybe it's happening because of what you're not choosing to do. In the book West of Jesus, the author, Stephen Kotler, he talks about reaching that point. He writes these amazing lines. The things I was choosing not to do were starting to add up to a whole other life. What are you choosing not to do? Made me think of times when I got myself into a stuck place. Less because I didn't know what to do, more because I knew exactly what to do but wasn't about to, wouldn't, for whatever reason. So here's the question that I hate asking myself. So I'm bringing it to share it with you. Because it can't be a mistake that you're here today. I mean, what if you came specifically to hear this? Could be the whole purpose of your visit right here. Now, you don't have to ask yourself this question. You can just listen to it. What do you know you should be doing? What's that thing that if you started doing it right away, you know would immediately begin to improve the quality of your soul's journey? Let's reframe it. What does your heart keep telling you to do that you keep ignoring? Or what feelings you know you feel, but you're denying that you're feeling them? Or how about this way? What dreams have you abandoned and do you know you should be following them? Or how about this? What exactly are you busying yourself up with so you have an excellent reason not to do what you know you must do? Oh, how about this? What's your excuse currently? In my life, I find that these questions have something to do with the area of growth potential. It's right there. That's where it is. That's where it is. And when I start to look at it, sometimes it's, although I feel like I'm stuck, or I feel like I'm lost, or I feel like life has abandoned me, or I feel like the universe is not fair, or I feel like it's all random and it's all unjust and it's all chaotic, if I just settle down, like it says in the journal, and be still and do less, more times than not, if I get honest enough, I find that actually what's happened is I've stopped listening to my soul's wisdom. I've stopped listening to my heart. I've stopped believing in my dreams. I've started listening to my own stories. I've started listening to the world's drama. I'm following the current excuse everybody's doing it, all of which tends to prevent me from living an extraordinary life. And I forget that the reward of following the masses is conformity and mediocrity and stuckness. So I try to remember what Emerson did, right? We must unlearn the wisdom of the world. So I tell myself, I want to relearn to trust my dreams and believe in spirit. I want to trust that the very thing that put the dream in me has also the means to fulfill it. I want to trust that this life is meant to be filled with joy and love, not pain and misery. See, because I grew up in a culture with a strong belief that there is virtue in suffering. I grew up with the subtle, well, it wasn't that subtle, with the message that God was pleased when I struggled. I've given it up. And I noticed that the old religious tale is hard to shake, because it's been told for so many centuries, with icons of spiritual role models suffering on our behalf, a model to follow. I've given it up. And I notice that I have to give it up every second, every day. How? I've got to learn to listen more carefully so I can remind myself that there is no such God that sends any being anywhere to suffer. Even Jesus himself said, I have come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. I have to remind myself that the mind of creation does not need any sacrificial lamb in order for it to be great. It is great before anything happens. And satisfied and complete. I have to remind myself, there's no payment for life. There's no debt for life. It's a gift. It is. It's free. And you and I are supposed to be here. And we're in the right place. And we're supposed to feel the soulfulness of belonging here and be engaged in it and delight in the even amazingly difficult journeys, not because they are punishment, but because they are journeys of unfolding. I have to remind myself every day that you and I are supposed to be crazy in love. Vital. In tune with our bodies. Healthy minds. Creative expressions. Letting it all out. I have to remind myself daily that this is God's plan. And then the big, powerful question is, but is it your plan? Is it my plan? And does your plan match this idea